believe we are ready for an interview with Blue Blazing from the side of UTD. Coach of the Year, apparently, from Colleague. Welcome in, Blue, as he's going to be joining us on the broadcast, telling us all about the journey for UTD, how they've made it here, the trials and tribulations. And Blue, welcome in. How are you feeling? Top 2 in the West, now into the playoffs.
I'm feeling great, to be honest with you. I mean, UTD in itself, Luby, Dalton, and Ghost, they have just been working. They've just been working. I know for this season, countless hours just putting into the game. So I feel like we're gonna do pretty good today.
Awesome.
Okay, so now, I got a question for you real quick. I mean, we're talking about league play in comparison to the playoffs. And, I got to ask, how do you feel the league play season went for your team? And how do you think you're going to, go into playoffs? It's like a completely different setting.
Oh, no doubt. I completely agree. Playoffs and league play can go hand in hand, where it's just, game after game after game. And we've been trying to prep with that this last week with having some, alternative tournaments and trying to get some other games to keep that hourly gameplay going. And I will say for league play, it is nice to just know who you're going up against pretty quickly and have a little bit of time to set up and then kind of go through what we want to do. But for playoffs, it's totally different, where we have to just, adapt and go forward. But I feel like from just having that 11-4 record and just being, last fall we were 10th, this spring we're second, we're super quick. Especially, I wanted to shout out Ghost. He's been improving so much throughout this season. And I feel like, these players can easily adapt. They can easily bring that offense to where they need to bring it.
Yeah, and the one thing that really speaks to me about this squad is that the meme is that when I have actually covered some of these games, it's well, of course it goes to game 5. So many of these games go to game 5. But when I look actually at those games, all your losses are in game 5. But that's the thing. Except for Columbia, you go to game 5, you take the distance. So it's taking a lot to really take you down in general from any of these other teams. And so thinking about that with all the improvements, what do you feel like the team is still needing to improve on? Where is the area of, I would not necessarily concern, but something that you're still trying to just patch up?
Well, in terms of patching up, there's a lot of things that we have been working on to get ready for these playoffs. I will say, in terms of just something that we need to work on is, coming back on that defense after, having a brutal offense. One of the biggest things about UTD is just carrying that momentum, keeping that pressure, keeping, all of that ball into the other opponent's nets. But, coming back on that defense, we're still trying to, figure out the best strategy, I will say. So that's probably the one thing I wanted to see patched up. And I feel like if we're not nervous, however, we'll perfectly execute a lot of the things that we've been planning.
It's all good. I'm sure the nerves are getting to you a little bit here as well. And I was about to ask you, are you feeling any extra pressure going into these CRL playoffs? How's the team dealing with this pressure as well?
I think we're excited. I think we're really, to be honest, in terms of the nerves, we're just trying to channel that into adrenaline. Worlds being in Dallas is super exciting, coming to our hometown. So if you do make it, everyone's just coming to us rather than going to them. And so it's going to be super exciting if we can make it. And I really just want to, mention that it's been since 2020 since the trio, Luby, Dalton, and Ghost have made nationals. And so I think, this is the season they're saying like, hey, we're going to make nationals and we can go far with it. So that's all I can say in terms of them. They're just super confident right now.
And I gotta say,
no, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, if they do make it to finals, they're gonna have the ultimate home field advantage, right? I mean, that's the biggest incentive you can have to try and make it into finals. But before you can even get there, I just got to touch light on the match coming up tonight. We got to keep in mind, you're going up against Oregon. You have a history there, so I mean, I gotta ask, how does it feel, going up into this matchup, first night of playoffs, up against Oregon?
It's going to be interesting, I'll be honest with you. I remember we lost to Oregon in the league play matches at the start of the season. Siebes is playing phenomenally, I will say. But, towards the end and towards, progressing through league play, we figured out some new strategies. And I feel like tonight we're going to bring it to them for sure.
And so therefore, I do want to focus obviously on the micro, what's happening right now. But then when we zoom out a little bit, I think the one thing that I think is curious is that, yes, you have this trio that's been around for forever. I mean, I've been casting, I feel like, for a while, and I feel like repeatedly when UTD makes those appearances, it's the same three. But then the dynamic shifts. We talked about this just before we brought you into the call. Ghost is graduating, and how do you think that affects the team going forward? Do you have a backup plan? Is there anything you can leak about potentially who might be coming in on the fall? I know we've had some announcements, but I'm just curious about how you think this affects the team after you have basically this huge, long-standing trio that really you don't often see that longevity in a collegiate or professional level.
No doubt. I mean, Ghost has been a solid foundation for us from the very beginning. He was a veteran player, and he's been just phenomenal, this season, of course, throughout the end of the past as well. But in terms of just kind of the new plan after Ghost leaves, I won't leak anything at all, to be honest. I know there are some players that are looking to come into UT Dallas, but the reason I can't leak is because nothing is confirmed at the moment. But we are looking into these players and just coming forth, and we'll see how the tryouts go in terms of our fall season.
Very true, very true. Hopefully you'll get some experts on your side to continue things going forward for this team specifically. But we don't want to take your time too much just so the players can get ready for their match later on tonight. So my last question for you is, any shout-outs that you have? And again, congrats for winning Colleagues Coach of the Season.
Thank you.
It's a big deal.
No, I appreciate that. Shout-outs for sure. I definitely want to shout out Oasical, the Rocket League manager. He has been doing the most effort, most work for the team, for the past few weeks. So definitely shout out to him, and shout out to the UT Dallas esports program. Overall, everyone has been just phenomenal with working with the Rocket League team and supporting us and cheering us on in every stream. Especially speaking of streams, the production as well for UT Dallas. I know they're watching as well, so shout outs to them.
Shout outs to all the homies at UTD there, especially yourself, Blue. But thank you for joining us for this interview, and good luck in your match tonight.
Thank you.
Awesome. That was Blue Blazing. As I said before, I mean, it's crazy to say that he's the coach of the season, voted on by the peers throughout CRL and people online, of course. So it's crazy to see that the work that they've iterated on, 10th last go around, didn't even make playoffs, now to second. Last semester for Ghost, that's going to be huge for them to see how far they can go if they can make it to Worlds. That's the story I'm focusing on for tonight, to get to that World Championships at their home base. But we got to talk about the